You know how they say one man's trash is another man's treasure? Well, there's probably no better example of this than like some of the stuff that winds up at my deer camp. So check out today's episode of Deer Camp Treasures, Sauna Edition. Hey everybody, Dave Knetter here from Knetter's Practical Outdoors. And you know, our deer camp is like most deer camps. We don't really buy a lot of new stuff for it. You know, like pots, pans, furniture, silverware, carpeting, that sort of thing. It's all stuff that's been scrounged up from somewhere, donated to the camp, maybe bought at a thrift store, you know, or even just like hand-me-downs from the house, you know, that sort of thing. But today I thought I'd show you guys some of the reused items that we have at our deer camp, specifically in the sauna. So here's the camp sauna. Go inside here. Changing room. And this deer camp is off the grid. I know there is an electrical outlet here, but that's from an inverter with a battery bank. Here's the inside, and it seems almost funny to have to mention that the deer camp is off the grid, because up here in the UP 99% of the deer camps are off the grid, but I guess if you don't live up here that might be something to mention. There's the Wheel of Death. You guys might recognize that. If you don't, I did a Wheel of Death video, gives you a little history behind that. Might want to check that out. There's nothing in it. We haven't been filling it or baiting it yet. We'll probably wait till a little closer to fall for that. There's the Sauna Stove, and this was truly a deer camp hand-me-down here. This was donated to the camp. Had a few leaks on the water pipes on the inside, but my buddy Al, who hunts with us, he's a union pipe fitter, so he welded it all up, so we'll have no issues there. And also the cedar on the inside of the sauna is also a deer camp hand-me-down. My buddy Scott scrounged that off of an old boathouse that was going to be torn down. He planed it down, turned out real nice. And Scott, by the way, is was the main architect and the construction foreman over the building of this sauna. He designed it all, kind of organized it all, turned out real nice. And here's another deer camp hand-me-down. My old boombox from the 80s. It's a cassette player. See, we got all these cool cassettes from the 80s too. So that's pretty awesome. One problem with this though is the antenna's broke, so it doesn't pick up any radio stations. And the other problem is, right here, the eject button doesn't work. So we're just kind of stuck with the one tape that's in there, which isn't too bad though. You can see it's actually a Cheap Trick's Greatest Hits tape. So whenever we come out to the sauna, we're listening to Cheap Trick, which is very cool. Sometimes we even reference it, like, hey, you gonna listen to some Cheap Trick tonight? And then the other guy will be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go light the sauna right now. So they kind of intertwine together, right? It could have turned out real bad. A couple years ago, my brother-in-law Milton brought his 80s tapes out to the camp as a donation. And, you know, he had like Air Supply and Pet Shop Boys, that sort of thing. And so we really lucked out not getting one of those tapes stuck in there. So, anyways, the one downside to this is my body's kind of become conditioned to sweat every time I hear Cheap Trick music. Kind of like Pavlov's dog, where the Cheap Trick music is the bell, but instead of salivating, I just start sweating. And, it's no big deal, of course, when you're in the sauna. But, there was one occasion, I was at a wedding reception. They played I Want You to Want Me. And I just started sweating profusely. I looked like I was in some kind of Gatorade commercial or something. So me and my wife just had to leave. So, there is a few downsides to having a lot of hand-me-downs at your deer camp. But, I think that's one of the great things about deer camps. Gives them a lot of character. So I kind of like having hand-me-downs at the deer camp. Another funny thing about having that Cheap Trick tape stuck in a cassette player in the sauna. My buddy Ronnie Camaro, he hunts with us. He's the owner of Camaro's Crawlers. And he's always singing in the sauna. You know how some people sing in the shower? Well, Ronnie sings in the sauna, right? So he's always singing to this Cheap Trick tape because, he doesn't really have a choice, right? That's the only thing he can listen to out there. And this one deer season, he got a ticket for having too much bait, out at his blind. Here in Michigan, there's limits to how much bait you can put out in the woods for deer hunting. And this one deer season, Ronnie gets a ticket from a conservation officer. Sometimes Ronnie doesn't make the best decisions when it comes to that sort of thing. But anyways, so that deer season, he's all mad about getting that ticket. He's out in the sauna every night. He's singing away to this Cheap Trick tape. And of course the song Dream Police is on this tape, right? It's Cheap Trick's greatest hit, so Dream Police is going to be on it. And he changes up the words to the song, because he's all mad about that ticket, right? So now he's calling the song Deer Police. And he's got all these crazy lyrics made up to it, like, Deer Police, they live inside of my mind. Deer Police, they come to me in my blind. Deer Police, they're coming to arrest me, that sort of thing. That's really all I can remember. You got to hear Ronnie sing it. It's crazy. He does the whole song. He's got lyrics made up for the whole song. It's pretty cool. Anyways, remember this. Hunt, fish, laugh, repeat. This is Dave Knetter from Knetter's Practical Outdoors. Thanks for watching and God bless.